Hello! Thank you for coming to this video today, guys. I really appreciate it. This is going to be just a little quick live AMA. I just wanted to get some suggestions from you guys on this podcast, so I couldn't be doing this stuff without you guys, so I think it'd be really important. The people that come to these live streams, especially them live, are like kind of my big fans, so I think it's really important to take a lot of feedback from you guys about this podcast that I'm going to be creating, because it's we're kind of all in this together, so I just wanted to give you guys some more information about the ideas that I have in my mind about what this podcast is going to be. I'm really, really excited for it, man. I think this is going to be, it's going to slowly become one of the central parts of my channel, this podcast that I'm doing. And I think it's really going to bring a lot of value to the community. So just real quick, we'll go over what it is and the ideas that I have so far. Someone's calling me real quick. Let me silence that. Okay, so what is this podcast about initially? So it's going to be about essentially adoption, Cardano adoption, and it's going to be the use and utility of Cardano. So what I'm going to be doing is having people on that are building things on Cardano, whether they're dApps, whether they're websites, whether they're communities. For example, I was actually just recently talking to someone who's building a community for people on the blockchain, specifically for women, and they're allowing women to come in. And they're just teaching them how to build stake pools, answering questions about Cardano. Because, for example, my audience on YouTube right now is 98% men and about 2% women, which is a small minority. So I think it's really good to just build a community and give women a voice. I'll look her up real quick so I can give you guys her name so you can check her out. She's awesome. I plan on having her on a podcast too, because she is building something on Cardano, and it's a community for women. And I think that's awesome. And that's essentially the center point of this podcast. Is it's going to be other people coming on and just essentially giving them a voice and showing what they're doing for Cardano, what they're building on Cardano, whether it's a dApp, a website, a community, and just anything in that realm, anything that's bring value, bring use and utility to Cardano, right? And I do want to make this like a very professional style podcast. I'm going to be doing a lot of learning as far as audio editing, making sure just everything's coming through clearly. I'm going to get some soundproofing, a bunch of other stuff. But let me get her name for you guys real quick so you can look her up. I'll go ahead and post it in the chat. She's awesome. She reached out to me yesterday. She actually did something with Kaizen Crypto recently. So her pool is K-Blocks. Her Twitter, I'll go ahead and post her Twitter in the chat so you guys can look her up. But I do want to have her on a podcast. Another person that I've already confirmed is going to be on one of the first podcasts, or the first couple. He's going to be within the first few podcasts, is actually Sebastian. He's the guy he's the lead tech guy, the lead developer, I would say, for Yoroi, the Yoroi wallet. I love it. He actually just recently made a video on... let me pull the chat back up. Sorry about this. So he actually just recently made a video about building another Cardano node in Rust. And watching that video, it was pretty short. It was like 10 to 12 minutes long. And he talked about the use and utility that having a different style. So the way stake pools work right now is you have a Cardano node that's built in Haskell, and the only way that you can run that is in like a Linux environment. I've seen other people do some crazy stuff, like start it in Android, and also start it with a Rock. I think it was just a Raspberry Pi, not a Rock Pi. But essentially, what a Cardano node software being built in Rust would do is make it easier to run on smaller devices and also be able to run it in a web browser. And I'm not knowledgeable enough to tell you guys how much use and utility that would bring. But from Sebastian's video, he mentioned all that it would bring. And that's just the way it was just like a nice little whiteboard video. And the way that he was explaining that really just got me excited, and he was pretty much just asking for help. He was asking for other people to work on this open source project that he's starting, because he can't do it alone. He doesn't have the funding to do so. So that's kind of my goal with this, is just to bring people on that are building stuff on Cardano, to just give them a voice, give them a way to display some information. So for example, they're going to be able to pull up their own little screen so they can show off slides and stuff, or they can show off their website, they can show off the dApp and kind of demo it live. So that's kind of going to be the first portion of the podcast, maybe 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how long they take. And then following that, I want to give the viewers a chance to ask questions, right? So I'm gonna have to learn how to be a good interviewer. I'm gonna have to take the technical stuff and kind of consume it, and then give it to you guys, the more technical stuff that's not easily understood, because you know how there's just there's a discrepancy between people that are very, very technical and then the people that can give that technical information to the everyday user on how that will bring use and utility to Cardano, how that'll bring value to your ADA token. So that's kind of my goal with this podcast, is just to let these people come on. I bridge the gap between the technical and the regular person aspect. Give that information to you guys. Give these people a voice. Give them a chance to show what they're building on Cardano, right? And the last 20 minutes of the podcast, 10 to 20 minutes of the podcast, I'm going to let the viewers ask questions. We'll be taking questions specifically from the chat, and we're going to allow these people to answer those questions. And then I'll also answer some of those questions at the same time too. And then that gives these people a way to ask the normal questions, the average questions that people have, because my questions might be different than you guys', because I obviously have a different view on this stuff, than the average person that's interested in Cardano, So yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to ask you guys, I wanted to get you guys to come in here. I'm willing to take suggestions, I'm not trying to curate this whole thing and it be, I'm definitely going to be curating a lot of it, and I'm going to make it like kind of a passion project for me. And it's going to be one of the central pieces of this channel. But I just wanted to take suggestions from you guys early on, and I'm going to keep these suggestions coming. I'm going to take just the best ideas that you guys have and the best ideas I have and kind of merge that all into one. But yeah, so the first thing I wanted to ask you guys is what you guys have any good name ideas? So I told you guys the outline of the podcast, so the name has to fall in line with adoption, use and utility projects. It either needs to have Cardano or ADA in the name, because it is a specifically Cardano and ADA podcast. But yeah, if you guys have any good names, I'll definitely take those into account. I've thought of a bunch of names, and Anthony, for example, you guys met Anthony last week on the podcast, the co-founder of Bloom. I told him Cardano adoption, and he specifically said, he's like, man, I don't know, that makes me feel like we're adopting kids of some sort, So it was just funny to me because it didn't come off that way to me, because in the crypto space, everyone uses adoption for people, bringing new people into the space and whatnot. So let me know, do you guys think ADA adoption or Cardano adoption just gives you the image of us taking in a bunch of kids? Or does that mean bringing more people in? But yeah, like I said, I would love to have you guys in here and just give me some name ideas, and I'm sure something great will come out of that, and also just suggestions on the format, what I'm missing, because I can't think of all the best ideas, and a combination of all these people coming together to build this great thing would be great, So it says there's a lot of people in chat. John Hamilton gave me a super chat. I really appreciate that, man. Juan said, what if a venue to connect tech development with real life solutions? Not only what is being done on the tech end, but also social solutions is needed. I agree, man. And that's why I have that community aspect in it. I don't want to just limit people, because a lot of it's going to be developers and dApps, and I don't want to limit to just that. I want it to have a broad scope, because the social solutions, like you said, man, are really important. Grant said, Big Pay and the Bloom team is the bridge gap between the technical and the ability to market ADA and use case to expanding the ecosystem. I really appreciate that, man. I'm really trying to work on that. In that last live stream that Anthony and I did last week, we specifically said that we're moving towards adoption. We want to find a way to bring adoption to ADA. And I told you guys I'm going to be making a whole series of videos for the average user that has not really looked into Cardano much, but also include some of the good technical tidbits in there to show why ADA is it. But yeah, that's what this is kind of the one piece of it. I think bringing these people on and giving the ability for the average person to see what these great minds are building on top of Cardano, I think is a great way to bring adoption in a way, because they're going to be like, wow, these are the people behind Cardano, and that's kind of another thought is call it something around like the people behind Cardano, but obviously a catchier phrase, and I'm sure as soon as I see that name or I come up with that name, it's just going to immediately just click with me, and I'm going to be like, that's it. Like, for example, when I heard when Bloom was thought up by Anthony, as soon as I heard the word Bloom, it clicked. That's it, man. And I'm sure it's going to be the same way with this, because this stuff, it kind of does have a weird, like, okay, that's it aspect to it, where that's what you pick. Read some more questions real quick. I do have some more content for you guys too. I wanted to take a look at Eta pools. I also do have a spreadsheet from Umed on Excel that I want to show you guys. It's pretty deep. I also want to give you the details about how much Eta is in each block right now, which is pretty cool. So I'll go ahead and read some of these name suggestions. 2-syllable names work best. I agree with you, man. That was from Tim Dinan. Grant said, Eta is my college hodl. Blah blah said Bloomcast. I did think of Bloomcast, man. We already used the name Bloom, so we can't use it again. But Bloom works so well for it because it's about growth. It's about adoption. It's about use and utility. It's about the projects being built on Cardano. So Bloom is literally the perfect word for it. But I do want it because I'm going to be going for getting funding from the DC fund, so I could not do this from my room, so it can be more professional and get a better mic, soundproofing, and actual camera. So I'm not doing this stuff with a webcam. I really want this to be on point. I'm going to be uploading it to all podcast venues, whether it's Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. I'm really going to be getting this out there. It's going to be an actual podcast. Like, as far as how professional it is, I want to be up to where the Cardano effect's at, and then in the future, just raise that quality from there. But day one, I want to be like, as far as audio quality goes, and as far as places to listen, I want it to be up there with them. Because they are awesome, man. I do love their podcast. Tim Dinan said 2-syllable words work best for podcasts. Thanks for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. Bloomcast is the best name so far. Yeah, like I said, Bloom just works perfect for it. Plumecast. Let's see if we got anything else. Tim Dinan said, what about something from Greek mythology? I mean, that wouldn't be bad, man, if you come up with something and I look into it and I'm like, man, that's it. If you got something from Greek mythology, I'm not against that for sure. There are some people asking specifically Cardano questions. I am going to be doing a Cardano AMA after we go over this podcast stuff. So if you guys are staying till the end, make sure you guys leave your questions about blocks and stuff like that, just for probably like 10 minutes from now, 15 minutes from now. Eggerguardo said Hydra podcast. That's a good one, man. Or HydraCast. That'd be pretty sweet. AI said with 15,000 and an Aaron 15, you could have a studio. Yeah, man, that's what I plan on doing. I'm not going to be doing this podcast in my room. I'm going to be getting just an office or a building of some sort to build a studio, just so it looks more professional. I know a lot of you guys are content with me just doing this in my room, but I do want to make it look more professional, because we are going to be having very high level, very professional people on the podcast, so I do think it's important to make that jump. But I'm going to be doing a lot of this stuff out of pocket initially, like the branding, the logo, the soundproofing, and I'm probably going to buy another camera out of pocket too, because I am just using this 30 FPS webcam that's kind of trashy. So I do want, it's a nice webcam, but I want an actual camera, N72 said, what would you talk about on the podcast? Mainnet pool stuff, Cardano news, bring interesting people on. Okay, man, so it's going to have nothing to do with stake pools unless the people on the podcast that are building stuff on top of Cardano has a stake pool as well, right? So, for example, if someone's coming on and saying, I'm building this dApp, and the funding that I'm using for this is this podcast, and I will mention podcasts, or not podcast. I will mention stake pools if that's the case, but it's not going to be it's not going to be about stake pools. It's not going to be about Cardano news. It's not going to be about bringing interesting people on. There are going to be some crazy interesting people that come on the podcast, but it's going to be specifically about people that are building apps, building social communities, just building things that make Eta what we want it to be. Right. And that's my point, is I want to give these people a voice to come on and talk, display their project, talk about funding if they need it. And also just a way for them to advertise themselves for the DC fund and stuff, because a lot of this stuff that's going to be built, like these dApps, these communities, these websites, the stuff that's going to bring use and utility to Eta, they're going to need funding, because a lot of these people are very high level people that can be making $200,000 a year working for someone, so we need to give them a voice and give them a way to display their thoughts, display what they're doing, to then get money for the DC fund or get money from a stake pool or et cetera, Tim Dinan said, the Greek god Hermes, the Roman Mercury, was the god of translators and interpreters. He was the most clever of the Olympian gods and served as the messenger for all other gods. That's pretty sweet, man. That does fall in line. You came up with that pretty quick. I appreciate it, man. When do you think it'll be? When do you think it'll launch? Also, do you feel that you could reach a bigger audience than just the Cardano audience? Yeah, I do, man. I really do. I think so. As far as when it's going to launch, I guess I should answer that question first. Within the next couple weeks. Initially, like I said, I'm going to get some soundproofing. I'm going to get a better camera, some better stuff. We have to get the logo done. We have to find a name. We have to start branding this and advertising it. And then, so I would say within the next month, you guys will get the first episode. And as far as the podcast schedule, I think I'm going to start it bi-weekly. It's going to be a set day every week, unless someone can only come on a certain day, because I would like to do them live. I really am a live stream kind of guy. I like getting feedback at the point. I like getting feedback immediately, and I think it would be really important for you guys to be able to ask these people questions when they're coming on. So I would like to say it's going to be out within the next month, and then following that, I would like to do a podcast bi-weekly, and then as more stuff's coming out, as more people are reaching out to me, it will become a weekly podcast, and maybe even more. If there's something great. If there's two great ones in a week, there's no problem having two on a week, Chucky said, BloomTube. Ron K said, was the update released yet? I think you're talking about Cardano node. I'll go ahead and answer this real quick. I think 1.19 was released today, but I want some official confirmation from IOHK before I do update my nodes. Juan said, I wouldn't worry about the place. I would watch expenses. The important part is content. I know you're right, man, but I really am a technical guy in the sense that I want everything to be perfect. I want everything to look perfect. And then the content will come out of that. I really am going to work on this content. And me doing these live streams every week really do get me better at speaking. And then also I just need to have more people on because it's going to be a whole new thing for me. These live streams, I've probably only done like 10 of them. So as I have more people on, because it's a different style, it's just me talking to a camera, talking to a chat right now. So I really need to build my interviewing skills, build my communication skills with other people. And there also is this weird gap that you have when you're talking to someone online. It's not like a conversation between me and one other person in a room. There's a different flow to it that I'm going to have to learn, and I think my communication skills with people are pretty good, but that's in person. It's not in a live stream setting through some sort of streaming service where we both have our video on, so that's something I'm really going to have to work on. And I do agree with you, man. I am going to watch expenses. But obviously I am making money from Bloompool now, so I am going to have some money that I can front for this. Ed Guargo said the Node podcast. It's a good idea, man. It's not going to be specifically about nodes, but maybe with Sebastian there'll be a lot of node talk on there for sure, man. Kayla Max said the Eta app show. That's pretty good, man. I do want it to be more broad though. Ram said podcast title after Eta. That's pretty sweet. Chucky said Cardano decentralized. That's a good one, man. So what do you guys think of the format so far? Do you guys like the sound of this? Does this sound like a good podcast that you guys would tune into? And I hope I explained everything pretty well. If I didn't, then feel free to comment on that. And then I also did want to take a look at Bloom real quick. I'll keep reading your comments. I'll scroll back up to him. But Bloom's killing it this epoch, man. It's pretty awesome. Let me switch the screens. Cool. There we go. So currently Bloom, my pool and Bloom 2, we have two pools, Bloom and Bloom 2. We have a 2.5 million pledge in both those pools to secure the network from Sybil attack and ensure you guys the highest rewards. We're currently sitting at 196 million stake in Bloom and almost 94 million in Bloom 2. Currently this epoch, we've already had 22 blocks on Bloom and 11 blocks on Bloom 2. That's awesome, man. Bloom 2 is killing it this epoch, and we're just going to keep getting more and more blocks as time goes on. As far as estimates to how many blocks that we're going to get, maybe we might even reach 90 total this epoch. I would say from a range of 70 to 90 between both pools is a reasonable estimate. But I'm really excited. I really do appreciate all of your support with Bloom, and this really is going to help me as far as making everything more quality, making these adoption videos for people that are not interested in Cardano. And I do want this podcast and my future videos to be able to reach an audience that hasn't really seen Cardano. And them to be able to educate themselves in the video, and them to get excited, get as excited as we all are for Cardano, and yeah, that's kind of one of the main things that I'm really shooting for with Bloom now, on top of transparency and high rewards, is Eta adoption, and I think YouTube's a really, really good platform for that, because on my videos, I think about 30% of my views on a good video come from new users. And these people aren't specifically the people that are interested in Cardano, because it's YouTube pushing my video. And they're pushing my video to people that are interested in cryptocurrency, people that are interested in financing and investing. So I think YouTube is a very good platform to bring adoption to Eta. They're just going to have to be some people that figure out the fine-tuning behind pushing these videos to an audience that has not heard of Cardano before, and also making these people interested in Cardano with these videos, because currently my videos are just so in the weeds right now that if you clicked one of my videos that you'd be kind of confused. You're like, oh, saturation, delegation. There's just a lot of lingo in Cardano that is in the weeds that the average person clicking on my weekly recap videos is going to be pretty confused about, So like I said, I would just love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. AI said, it's hard to tell once you get started. We can tell you if you need to retire or keep going. It sounds good so far. Yeah, for sure, man. And that's the thing, is I'm not confident enough to come on here and tell you that the first podcast is going to be the best thing you ever seen. But one thing I can promise you is I will get better with each podcast and each iteration of it. And I will get better at interviewing. I'll get better at talking to people over this online platform that we're doing. Because it's not going to be like a person-to-person podcast, like I said. So it's going to be a new skill for me to learn. And if you guys go back and look at my live streams from 4 months ago, or my videos from 4 months ago, you can tell that I've been on a constant path of improving. It's just when you do something every day for hours, you get better at it, man. It's that simple. And this is a new thing for me, so just having your guys' initial support in the beginning, it doesn't have to come out and get 1 million views for me to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it over and over and over again as people are interested and as people are bringing dApps, because I think in 6 months from now, when Goggen's out and people are building dApps, this is going to be a really big thing. I have really high hopes for this podcast, because there are going to be so many people building on Cardano, people that are building apps, building communities, building websites, people that are bringing utility to Cardano. And it's just going to be a beautiful thing to allow these people to come on. And I'm so excited, man, because people that build things, people that think of things to like kind of that entrepreneurial mindset, that building mindset, it interests me more than anything else in the world, and I'm just blatantly curious about doing this. It entices me. Like I'm having a struggling to because I'm thinking faster, and because I'm so excited about this, I'm having trouble putting it into words. But I really do think this could become a big thing, and I really do think it's going to be an awesome thing. It's just going to take some time, If you go back and look at the Cardano effect. I actually went back and looked at their first ever episode yesterday, just because I was curious. I really am doing a lot of research and putting a lot of time into this. So I went back and looked at their first ever podcast, and it was actually Sebastian was the first person on their podcast, and just to see how far they've grown, or how much they've grown in a year, really, it gives me hope. I think that within time, this is going to become a really great thing that you guys are going to be really interested in. Yeah, if you guys are here, make sure you leave a like on that live stream. We're at 81 concurrent viewers. So make sure you guys leave a like. We're at 32 likes. I'm sure after me saying that it'll pop up, but I really do appreciate you guys all being here today. It's just a low-key little quick live stream that I wanted to do just to get some of your guys' thoughts on this. Kayla Max said, "Have you looked into streaming on Theta too?" I haven't seen that yet, but I'll look into it, man. Is that like some sort of decentralized streaming platform? Tim Dinan said Goguen at 0.5, right? I've heard that, man. I really have heard that, but I'm not sure that's true. I haven't heard that officially yet, but I've seen many people say that, so you might be right. For the podcast, you should do clips similar to Joe Rogan. I will do that, man, especially if there's some great clips coming out of it. In the TCE 103, Sam Leathers mentioned that Goguen was slated for the end of November. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay, another cool idea I had for this podcast, because it is about anyone building anything on Cardano. This is kind of one of the ones that I thought would be great in my head, is having Charles come on and explain specifically the game that he's going to be building on Cardano, and he's going to be somehow tying Eta into this game, and he's going to be building it on top of Cardano. Wouldn't it be awesome to have him come on the podcast and explain the game design and get in the weeds on that? And then see how he's going to tie that into Eta. Like, I think there's just the outline for the podcast is so broad, but with a topic that we all enjoy, that I think a lot of great things can come out of this. I can answer this question real quick, and then I'm going to do a couple things, and then we'll switch over to the AMA. We can also keep talking about the podcast during the Eta AMA too, but I'll answer this real quick. Caesar said, "Hey Peyton, on delegation, something that was never mentioned in the rewards percentage delegators get. Is it proportional to the value delegated? Would it kindly be able to emphasize on that? Cheers." Yeah, for sure, man. So when you delegate to a pool, the rewards you get is proportional to the amount that you delegate, right? So if you delegate 10,000 Eta, the rewards you get is going to be based on, obviously, the blocks that the pool gets. But say you have two pools that give the same, or that get the amount of blocks that the pool's supposed to get. So say Bloom is supposed to get 24 blocks, and Bloom 2 is supposed to get 10 blocks, right? And you have 10,000 Eta delegated. The rewards will be very similar between both pools, because Bloom 2, even though it got less blocks, you're getting a higher percentage of those blocks based on the Eta that you have delegated. Does that make sense? Juan said, "This is a good time to input a placeholder of projects to create your own server to live stream. Many of us wouldn't want to lose your streaming just because YouTube decided to cut you off air." Yeah, man, I have been thinking about that too. I think as I grow, I will be live streaming to a website. I'll probably build a website just for this live stream and just for my videos, that people can actually do that on the website, like just with chat features and everything else, because YouTube they do cut people off, especially when it comes to cryptocurrency. Because of the scams in the network, they just decide that we're all bad actors because they haven't really looked into it yet. So I do appreciate your opinion on that. N72 said, "All right, I'm heading out. I'm excited for the podcast." Thanks, man. I appreciate you swinging by. This was a real quick one. Okay, so someone actually reached out to me, a small pool. They reached out to me and said they actually wanted to sponsor because they're having trouble getting blocks. So they reached out to me and said they wanted to sponsor one of my live streams. So I did want to go over there for a quick couple minutes, talk about their stake pool, and hopefully we can get them a block on this next upcoming epoch. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at his website. I think his website and his design is pretty sweet. It's Bubba Gnu staking Eta. His fees are 3%. His little title right here is "Be the big fish to my small pool," and this ties directly into what I was saying earlier. If you guys delegate to a small pool, you will get the same proportion of rewards that you will get from a big pool, as long as that minimum cost per epoch is taken care of. So if you delegate to a small pool, you will get similar rewards. Obviously, you have to take fees and pledge and a bunch of other things into account, but the amount of Eta you get is mainly proportional to the Eta that you have staked. So I do have his website down below. You guys can check it out. I really do like his branding, so we can scroll down a little bit and look at his About Me page. He's been working as a software engineer for Cisco during his daytime, and he's a stake pool operator during that later part of the day. I really do like seeing people that are doing this on the side as a part-time project, because they do bring value to Eta, creating stake pools. So it's pretty awesome. We also will take a look at his pool on Eta Pools. This is the first sponsor I've ever had on my channel, man, so I really do appreciate it. So how this worked is he just reached out to me, said, I really like your videos, man. I'm trying to get myself out there, trying to get some community growing. So he reached out to me, sponsored this live stream, and I really do appreciate him for that. So we can go ahead and look at his stuff on Eta Pools, but the website is in the link down below. So on Eta Pools, this is what he's got going. So Bubba Gnu, his ticker is Bubba. I really do like the branding, man. The logo design's great. I really do like it. Just have the elephant with it. It's pretty sweet. So as far as live stake, he's sitting at 2.94 million. His active stake is, so yeah, currently this stake, he only has 294, but the following epoch, he will have more of this Eta delegated, so he'll start earning blocks. And I really do think that with this, we should be able to get him a block. I want to say to earn a block, you probably have to have 4 to 10 million, you know, so I think we can get him a block from this. But yeah, man, I really do appreciate him doing this. He has 20 total delegators. I think he did actually get, yeah, so he got a bunch of blocks the last epoch. He got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He got 7 blocks last epoch. That's awesome, man. I think he did have like 20 million Eta delegation and then 1 person less. So yeah, like I said, shout out to him. And then the last thing I wanted to do as far as content in this live stream is this little spreadsheet I have going here. So this spreadsheet's by Umed. Thanks for posting that link in the chat to his website. I really appreciate that, Anthony. Okay, so this spreadsheet was built by Umed. It's awesome. It actually kind of gives you a lot more details about the systems that are going on here. I'll actually post, after this video's up, I'll post a link to this. So essentially what you can do is you can type in the amount of Eta that your stake pool has, the Eta price, the pool performance, the fees, the operator pledge, the pool size, and then it gives you the total rewards that it's going to send out to delegates. And this is a rough estimate, you know, and there are a lot of factors being taken into account. So as time goes on, this will be much more accurate, you know, but right now, after typing in all of our stuff, so it says pool rewards per epoch after taxes. So this is all of the Eta going to the delegates for Bloom. It's actually sitting at around 120,000. But like I said, this is variable because the epoch before we had much more than 119,000. And a couple things, like they do this block production chart on here, which is awesome. It shows your percentage chance per the amount of blocks that you get, which is pretty cool. So you got 30, 31, 32, 33, and then you can look up here, look 7% for Bloom to get almost 30 blocks, a little higher than 7% for 31, a little higher than 30% for 32. And then I do send these charts every week in my Discord channel if you guys aren't a part of that. But yeah, I will post this link after this live stream. I do think it's awesome. And then one important feature that I think is awesome is it shows the estimated Eta per block. And obviously the Eta per block is going to go down as the D parameter goes down. So currently we're sitting at about 6,200 Eta per block that we get. You know, so we're sitting at 33 blocks on Bloom. So you can just take 33 and times it, I would say, by 6,000. And you'll get a good estimate on how much Eta per block is going to both the pools with this 6,000. And then as that D parameter decrements, that Eta per block will slowly get lower and lower and lower because the way D works is they want to still be able to give people the same amount of rewards while Cardano is not fully decentralized. So it's a higher Eta per block right now. And then as that D decrements, we'll get more blocks, but the Eta in each block will be less. So that'll keep your rewards steady over time. Yeah, and there's just a lot of cool stuff on here, you know, like 2020 distributions. He has a row chart, ROS chart. I think this is an awesome graph. He does have a GitHub for it, and he keeps it constantly updated. He's a finance guy. I think he was actually going to start that the podcast that was specifically for. He was going to start the finance and trading podcast, which I think is going to be really cool. He's a really smart guy when it comes to finances. So. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and switch to the Cardano AMA part and the Bloom AMA or the podcast AMA. So if you guys have any questions, just keep them coming. I'll answer those questions and I'll go ahead and log off. I just wanted this to be a little quick one. Also, I wanted you guys to manage your expectations when it comes to rewards. If you guys were part of the ITN for specifically, if you guys were a part of the ITN specifically for the rewards portion of it, the rewards on there were crazy. I think my average rewards was around 11% throughout the entire ITN. So if you delegated to my pool in the ITN, my average rewards over time was 11%. So if you would have delegated to me at the very beginning and stayed the whole time, you would have had 11% per year from my pool. And because the Cardano node software is much more stable than the ITN software, a lot more pools are hitting their blocks. So the reason the rewards were so high on that is because you'd have pool A right here, and pool A would miss their block. And then that would allow other operators to take the ADA from that block that they missed because the ITN software was so unstable. But now because Cardano node is so stable and you never miss blocks, that's why. That it's really the ADA you're going to earn is probably going to be more around 4.6 to 5% per year. Versus the 11% that I had per year on the ITN. And it was because of the instability of those. So just manage your expectations on rewards. This is what IOHK came out and said that we're going to earn. And then when you look at UMED's charts, that Bloom specifically sits at around 4.66% to 5% based on the ADA that we have delegated, based on our pledge, and based on the other factors. And that was my goal all along, is to provide you guys the highest rewards and be among the best when it comes in terms of rewards. And that's why we had the pledge. So we had the minimum cost per epoch, and then also just the branding and having a high stake. Rom said, "How realistic is it for someone to create realistic is it for someone new to programming to learn to create a stake pool?" I think it's very realistic, man. I think it's going to take you some time. I don't think that you can just have, you could definitely just have a pool up in a few days if you jumped right into it. But as far as the security and the network stability of that pool, I don't think it would be very good. So if I were you, I would start building now. I'd get a pool up on the test net. There is a test net that they're doing right now. They do keep these test nets running. So I would just start practicing, man. I think given 6 months, I think you could be a pretty good pool operator. I don't think programming is the limiting factor here. You have to learn about networking and security. You have to have a lot of Linux skills, but there's not really too much programming when it comes specifically to operating a node. It says there is 91 concurrent viewers still here. If you guys are here, make sure you guys leave a like on this live stream. I really do appreciate you coming by. If you guys missed it earlier, we're pretty much talking about the podcast that I'm starting. It's just a little quick live stream so I could take suggestions for you guys on names, on format, and everything else. Kushti Crypto said, "I've still never claimed my ITN rewards. I was delegated to you from the start. Not too late, is it?" Nope, not too late, man. It's never too late to claim those ITN rewards. They are saved in the blockchain history as long as someone doesn't steal them for you, as long as you didn't give out your secret key. Jesse said, "Never too late to delegate to Bloom or Bloom 2. For sure, man. It's never too late to do that." Sassy Boy said, "Why is Charles so worried about Ether Classic?" Because it was definitely a passion project for him, man. He was the co-founder of Ethereum, and I don't know the details about what happened with him and Vitalik, but as my basic knowledge of it, ETC Classic is what they created, and he just doesn't want to see it die. And a lot of people kind of get mad about that and say, "Well, why is Charles focusing on something else that isn't Cardano?" I don't think there's any problem with that. As far as focusing everything 100% on Cardano, I think it's good for someone to have a passion project. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think it's going to. This guy works so much. He's been putting out a video like every day, it seems like, for the past month, right? So he's a worker. I'm sure he works from the second he wakes up to the second that he goes to bed. So him doing something like that, do you really think it's going to take out the value of ADA? I don't think so, man. I think that this is our project now, If you guys are worried about ADA's future, then start building, right? Getting angry, I wanted to say the B word, but I'll get demonetized. Getting angry about what Charles is doing, I think doesn't help anything. It probably just makes him mad, and I don't think there's anything wrong with him focusing on what he wants to do. It's we have freedom to create whatever we want. He's fulfilling his promises. He has a team working on Cardano, multiple teams working on Cardano. If he wants to do something with ETC, that's all him, man. Chris said, "When does it start?" Do you mean the podcast, Chris? I got a super chat from Arum. He said, "Thank you. Thank you, man. I really appreciate the super chat today." Philip gave me a hi. What's up, Philip? I appreciate you swinging by. RV Zinnerman said, "What do you think about Cardano on the Rock Pi?" I actually saw someone running a Cardano node on the Raspberry Pi. But you do have to make sure that you have relay servers set up. You don't want to give out your IP to other people because that just causes problems, network security issues. So I think you can run a node on a Rock Pi. I think as the future goes on, there will be more. There's going to be a lot different systems that you can build on because currently it's Linux. And I'm sure you can do some tinkering and build the Cardano node software somewhere else. But as far as building it on Windows or building it on Rock Pi, it's a lot harder and you don't really have much support for that. But that support will come in the future for sure. Kevron said, do you recommend from switching from Bloom to Bloom 2? You can do whatever you want, man. If you're the sit and forget kind of guy, you can go for it. But I do know somebody that has 25 million ADA delegated to Bloom. And he said that if we're worried about saturation, I can just shoot him an email and he'll move that over from Bloom to Bloom 2. So I wouldn't worry too much about saturation. Bloom probably does give a little bit of higher rewards, but I think in a couple of epochs that's going to average out. So yeah, man, you can do that if you want, but it's up to you. It's completely up to you. Sassy Boy said, thank you for responding. No problem, man. I try to get to all these comments, especially during the Cardano AMA part. Edwardo. Sorry for pronouncing that wrong, man. He said the Babbage podcast. I don't know what the word Babbage means, man. I'll have to look that up. But thank you for your suggestion. Ram said, how long do you think it will take for the crypto market to not be tied to Bitcoin? I think it's going to take some years, man. I think in a couple years, Cardano will be competing directly with Ethereum and Bitcoin. We'll be going hand in hand, man. But there's a lot of people really believe in Bitcoin. There's a lot of security. There's a lot of community built around it. So as far as long as it's going to take, I don't know, man. I think Bitcoin's going to be here for a while. Master Turk said, putting IOG pools is good for networks. Good for the security of the network. It was a smart move. Yeah, man, they could do whatever they want. I don't have any problem with them putting up IOG pools. I wish they would have delegated a little bit more to the community, not really to me, but to smaller pools. But, I mean, they can do whatever they want, man. It's their ADA. As far as the security of the network, yeah, man, them having a few pools up is going to secure the network. But that's like saying that IOHK is better than every stake pool operator there is, you know, and I don't know if they agree with that or if I agree with that. But as far as network security goes, I think a good stake pool operator can go hand in hand with IOHK as far as network security goes. Will P said, any ideas on how to minimize taxes on crypto income pay? Thanks. I have no idea, man. I really don't. I know crypto and staking rewards is charged. Okay, I do have one thing. So currently in the United States, ADA is taxed as a security. So when you buy ADA, if you plan on selling it, you don't want to sell it within the first few months because the gains, the capital gains on that ADA is actually charged as income tax. So if I buy ADA today and make $10 off of it and I sell it tomorrow, I'm going to pay a much higher tax than if you just hold that asset for a year. So if you buy ADA today and you sell it a year from today, you only have to pay 10% on the gains that you make off of that versus the income tax. So I do have one suggestion for you, but other than that, I don't. And also, you do need to look at your state guidelines too, man. Anthony said Bloom 2 is crushing at this epoch. It really is, man. It's doing good, especially compared to Bloom. It's doing awesome, man. It's had some good lucky blocks. Wesley said, just saw Vitalik sold all of his ETH. Where, man? That doesn't make any sense with the hyperinflation that USD is going into. Why would he sell all that? Unless he was put into a different asset. Send us a link for that, man. I'll check it out. The 5-star Emperor said, hi, Big Pay. Are you aware that Atomic has a lot of ADA community members frozen in their wallet? Maybe Cardano can address this. I wasn't aware of that, man, but it's probably just them updating from the Byron federated model to the new Shelley model, the new decentralized model, and it does take people a lot of time. I don't know anything about the Atom wallet. I don't know anything about their developers, but I'm sure your funds are safe, and if they're not, then there's going to be problems. But specifically, like your Roy Mobile, for example, if you had your wallet on your Roy Mobile, it was locked up until earlier this week, you know. So I think we should give the Atomic wallet some time to upgrade, and it also is a lesson for many people that if you're worried about a big fork, a big network change, and you want to have access to your ADA immediately, you need to get it off exchanges. You need to get it off wallets like the Atomic wallet, or maybe even get it off the wallets like your Roy wallet. I mean, you could just recover your Roy wallet into Daedalus. So being on your Roy is not a big issue, but specifically being on an exchange or a third-party wallet, you might have issues as they might not update as fast as everyone else, So just keep that in mind for the future. Corey said, how much will saturation affect rewards if someone is day one delegator? So day one delegator doesn't really matter when it comes to saturation. If the pool is saturated, you essentially don't get any more blocks. So say saturation is 210 million, which it's about around there, 211, 210, 209. So if Bloom goes over 209, which it won't, because I can just tell you guys to move over to Bloom 2 and even them out. And like I said, I do have that contact that I can get to move ADA over. You essentially get the same amount of rewards as you would if you're at 220 million versus 210. So you essentially don't get more blocks as you go up. So that's how it affects you, right? But we're going to keep that in mind. I have the ability to contact you guys through the Discord server and ask some of you to move over to Bloom 2. And that could be done very quickly without any hiccups, So I wouldn't really worry about Bloom getting saturated. I will take care of that as soon as it does. But it just affects you you earn less rewards the higher it goes up. Because think about, if you're earning the same amount of rewards at 210 million as you would at 220 million, well, those same amount of blocks have to be distributed between more people. So that's how you earn less rewards from that. The 5-star Emperor said, I am staked to Bloom. Thanks, man. I really appreciate your delegation. Hash said, stake laces and chill, man, for sure. Stake laces and chill. Stake laces and live stream, man. When it's fully decentralized, will it be a security? I think it'll be a security as long as the government decides they want to tax us. Kayla Max said, have you seen the new Cardano Atlas Explorer? Do you know when it should be out? The Nginx Explorer was great for Ngen. No, I haven't seen that, man. If it's out or if there's some sort of beta that I can look at, I can take a look at it live. Sassy Boy said, do the rewards go back to the wallet it was delegated from? They do. They do. Paul said, any idea of the time the new Daedalus release? Cheers. I thought they already did a new Daedalus release. As far as I know, they did a new Daedalus release and it's much, much faster. Don't take my word for it, though. I actually did just go... I went hiking all day yesterday, so I did take a day off as far as news goes and everything. I went to this nice place here in Ohio. It's you guys might have heard of it. It's called Hawking Hills. I mean, it's a beautiful place to go hiking. We hiked probably like 15 miles yesterday, so I was pretty beat. I didn't do really any ADA stuff yesterday, but it could have been out. Hashbeat said, stack and stake. Heck yeah, man. Make sure you guys keep these comments rolling or I'm going to end it. We're coming on to 47 minutes. I usually do like them going an hour and 20, but that's based on questions that were received, Philip said, is saturation when a pool is over the 1% mark? So that's how it was during the ITN, but that's not how it is currently. Saturation is tied to this value called K, and K, you take the total amount of ADA in circulation, which I think is around like 31 billion, and you divide that 100 by 150. And then that's how you figure out the saturation point. And it's not the 1% mark. It'd actually be, right now it's going to be a little bit lower than that. Hashbeats Cash said, where's the other 17 billion unstaked ADA hanging around? That's a good question, man. It could be locked up in that Atomic wallet or exchanges or anything else. Or it's just people in Japan that haven't really caught on to the news yet, Anthony said the wallet is not out yet. Okay, so it must the Twitter posts I must have seen have been people compiling it from source. So that's probably why I saw some updates on that wallet. Yep, so it's not out yet. I really do appreciate you saying that, Anthony. Blah Blah said, what originally what made you originally get into Cardano? Like many of you guys, it was Charles's whiteboard video. Just the idea of voting, the idea of dApps, just the combination of all these things, and it being a third-gen cryptocurrency is what got me really excited. But for me, the treasury system and the voting system, and also it being it being written in Haskell, also the formal methods, how they wrote papers about it. The first paper they ever wrote was the good things that you can take from Bitcoin, the bad things about Bitcoin, and then they built their proof of stake papers off of that. So really the voting system, the formal methods where they have peer-reviewed papers and they build the code after the formal methods. I'm really an advocate for playing the long game, right? I know it's not very good for Cardano's image for them to take 5 years to get proof of stake out, but as far as the long-term game, we're trying to build a decentralized system that's here forever, right? So taking longer to write these papers and making sure these systems are valid and true, and going through the old process that brought us the science that we have today through formal methods, I think was a great thing. So that's kind of what got me attracted to that, alongside Voltaire, alongside Gauguin, alongside everything else. Big B said, is it possible to stake with Yoroi and Ledger yet? No, it's not. As soon as it is, I will have a video out on that. Kalu Max said, here's why I mentioned Atlas. In the interface, people should be able to find apps that have been built on Cardano. That's true, man. That's awesome. That would be really cool to have an application explorer. Xavier said, do you have a price prediction for Eta? Nope, I'm not a price guy, man. I'm a hodl kind of guy. I buy and hodl. I believe in the tech. I believe in the future. I believe in the stuff being built on top of Cardano. But as far as price, I don't really check it that often. I hear about my price from you guys. There's too many variables in predicting a price. You know, we got USD's hyperinflation. So it's like the price relative to what, most people tie it to USD, but USD is going to be entering a period of hyperinflation. The severity of that is undetermined depending on whether they keep printing cash or not. So it's just not, I'm not knowledgeable enough, and there are too many variables for me to make a price prediction. Philodoro said, if we lose 10 days worth of staking when we shift our ADA from one pool to another, nobody would volunteer to move. So that's not how it works, man. If you decide to delegate to another pool, those 10 days that you're thinking that you lose rewards, you'll still be earning rewards from the same pool. And then 10 days later, you'll start earning rewards from the other pool. So you'll get rewards from, so say you go to Bloom 2, right? You'll have rewards from Bloom, and then the delegation will start, and you'll get more rewards from Bloom, and then the rewards from them will start. So you don't actually lose any staking rewards from changing pools. Hashbeat said, just watched a Marlowe demo. Great interface. Yeah, it is pretty awesome, man. I watched that demo during the live stream, or during the Cardano Summit live stream that I did live with you guys. That was awesome, man. It is a really great interface. You can tell there's some great minds behind that. Kevron said, what kind of role do you want to play in the Cardano community? It's a good question, man. I want to play a couple roles. I want to play, like I said, that podcast that I'm doing. I want to create a podcast specifically about people building on Cardano, communities, projects, apps, dApps, I should say, and also websites. The role I want to play is bringing a voice to these people. I want them to be able to come on and show off their great projects and show off how they're going to bring value to the ADA token, because I know a lot of the viewers will bring value to these people that are trying to bring value to their token and their ecosystem that they're so fond of. So I would like to play the role of content creator with a focus on adoption, a focus on the technical aspect, the use and utility. Then I'm obviously a stake pool operator, so I'm holding the network up, with my servers. But I do want to play a lot of roles, but I definitely am a Cardano advocate. So I wouldn't really call me the jack of all trades, but I do want to specialize in a couple different things. Wesley said, USD sucks at the moment. 3 months ago, you got one USD for 94 euro, and now it's 84. Exactly, man. There's no way to tell. Kayla Max said, this is probably a dumb question, but it's not a dumb question, man. But what will ADA use for gas? I think that ADA, I've heard the people at IOHK talk about this a little bit. I've also heard this on the Cardano effect as well. Shout out to them, man. They have a lot of great information on there. But what is going to be used for gas is the token that you're using, right? So say a token's being built on top of Cardano. We'll call it Bobcoin. Well, Bobcoin is going to use Bobcoin for gas. They said that they want people to be able to pay the fees in that token versus then using ADA as the gas token. So that's my greatest understanding of it. And I heard that on the Cardano effect, and I've also heard that from IOHK. But ADA will be an option to use for gas as well. Hashbeats Cash said, "Awesome pay, grabbing your shovel, bro. Thanks, man. Yeah, I've been trying to upgrade my shovel, man. I've really been working up from a wood shovel to an iron shovel. You know, maybe a diamond shovel one day. I'm really trying to get out there for us." Blah blah said, "No, just the epoch." What do you mean, man? Thanks for the info on gas. No problem, man. Boss said, "Lovelace coin. We already got one of those, man. It's ADA." Redman said, How many ADA does a pool get per block? It's a good question, man. I actually answered that earlier. I'll go ahead and answer it again for you. So I know some of you guys are just tuning in. So the ADA that you get per block is actually tied to the D parameter. And it's tied to a lot of things, but the main one is the D parameter. So you get more ADA per block when D's higher, right? So D's currently set at 0.8. So the average ADA that you get per epoch, per block is around, I want to say 5,500 to 6,200 ADA per block. And then that will go down as the D parameter goes down, but we'll get more blocks to make up for the ADA that's being lost from the D parameter going down, you know. So I hope I explained that well. If I didn't, just feel free to ask again. I'll try to iterate on that more. Ram said, if, knock on wood, Cardano doesn't work out, what do you think will be the cause? I think the community. I really do. I think if not enough people are building, if not enough people are bringing out value to the token, if not enough people are picking up their shovel, I think that will be the failure of Cardano, because it is on us. It's on us for adoption. It's on us for stuff being built on top of Cardano. It's on us to vote for the right people that we're giving the money from the treasury from. It's essentially on us if Cardano fails, right? So it's on us as a community to educate each other, to stay informed, to vote on the right things, to pick up a shovel, you know. So it's on us if we fail. The 5-star said, you rock, bro. Keep up the good work. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I will keep up the good work. Wesley said, dude, you're on the right track, mate. I love your voice. It's very calming for me. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, Big Pay's ASMR about Cardano. Ooh, I like that, man. Kitty said, what about the Aura podcast? It goes with your current theme. I like that, man. I think that's the best name I've heard so far, the Aura. That's a cool one, man. That's the best one that I've heard roll off my tongue. Sassy said timeline as in Gauguin and Voltaire. Okay, so Voltaire is kind of happening right now behind the scenes. There's this thing going on called Project Catalyst, where they invited 50 people to kind of test the features on that. I don't have too many details on that, but Voltaire is going to be coming soon. They're already working on that behind the scenes. I really do wish I was a part of that, but they didn't reach out to me. Okay, so as far as Gauguin, I heard Samuel Leathers on the Cardano effect. He came out and he said that we're looking at around the end of November for when Gauguin comes out. Philly said, how many ADA does a pool get per block? Currently, it's at about 6,000 ADA per block. As the D parameter goes down, we'll get less and less ADA per block, but we'll get more blocks. Daniel said, hello from Mexico. What's up, man? Let me see if I can pronounce that right. Hello from Querétaro. I know I pronounced that wrong, but what's up, man? I really appreciate you tuning in from Mexico. It means a lot to see you guys from around the world. Sassy Boy said, "Why is Chico's butt so sore from Cardano?" I think it's all the attention that we give him, man. I think when you give someone attention in turn, especially on YouTube where we get paid per view, right? If he talks a lot of crap about a certain project, he's going to get all the negative attention from us, and he's going to get all the positive attention from all the people that dislike us, right? So why is his butt so sore about Cardano? Well, it's because we give him the attention, which in turn gives him more money. It gives him a bigger voice, right? So he's going to keep being sore about Cardano as long as we keep giving him attention, and I haven't really seen him post anything since Shelly came out, and maybe he has, but the last thing I've seen him post about Cardano was essentially, why would Charles take the small business loan from the government? Well, sorry, Chico, but if you looked into it, it wasn't really a small business loan. It was a loan being given out to any business, particularly big businesses, on the back of the American people, right? That's not Charles's problem for playing the game, right? If so, say you have a government entity and they're printing a bunch of money and they're devaluing the money that you already have, but you have a chance at taking some of that money so you're less devalued, are you really going to say no to that money? No, it's on the legislators to make a right system that only helps out the people that need it. It only helps out the small businesses. It only helps out the people that were impacted, right? When it comes to competition, if your competitors are getting X amount of money and you're going to take the moral high ground and say, I'm not going to take it, well, then you're going to fail because you're already getting devalued by the government. You're just trying to keep up, right? Jason said, I saw a video of Charles beating Chico down in a wrestling game. Yep, that's why he's got a voice, man, because Charles feeds into it as well. Jason said, hello from Ohio. What's up, man? How was that hello, Anthony? Did you like that one if you're still here? Dale said, I'm not sure if I've missed it, but do you have any plans to build dApps on Cardano? I actually do. I have a project in mind. I've been going through logistics of building a dApp on Cardano. I'm not going to give any more details on that, but I think it's a really cool idea, and I think it's going to take away some power away from some centralized websites. But that's my idea behind my dApp. That's as much information I'll give. But yeah, I've really been trying to learn about that and looking at the process of making that exist, Sassy Boy said, are you into any other cryptos? Not really, man. Cardano, at least right now, as we get Shelly and Voltaire and Gauguin, it really requires my full attention with this YouTube channel, with running a stake pool, with building dApps. I'm really here for Cardano right now, and I will be for a long time. I'll always be here for Cardano, but I haven't really had the time to look into any other cryptocurrencies. I'm sure there's some great ones out there, and that's really my fault, It's not good to put all your eggs in one basket, but Cardano requires my full attention right now. Wesley said, dude, from school you learn that inflation is normal, but it ain't. Yeah, inflation's not normal, man. It's really not. Anthony he said, solid, bro, 10 out of 10 on the hello. I appreciate it, man. I even I tried to hit you with a good one at the beginning of this one too. What's so funny, Anthony, I might have mentioned this to you, but when I did that hello in my video earlier this week, I could tell it was weak. So I could have either restarted the intro and made it better, and I was like, no, I'll go through with it. But I had in the back of my mind that you were going to give a 0 out of 10 rating on that hello. Caleb Max said, I'd love to be an alpha tester for your dApp. For sure, man. Anybody in my Discord server can be an alpha tester. We'll make a channel called Big Pace dApp Alpha Testing. And you have to apply for it or something. Jason said, Cardano has a chance to bring back the poker boom. Probably fair, random card shuffling, and instant cash outs. Yeah, for sure, man. I would love to play poker online. I did a live stream about 2 months ago and said I would love to build a poker dApp on Cardano. But then I started really looking into online poker games. And there are just so much cheats that people can do. They can look at your 2 cards and give you the probability of winning with the cards on there. And I think you would have, if you're building a DApp on top of Cardano, you would have to include some of those cheats already in the game to make it fair for everyone. But it makes me a little worried about building a poker app on Cardano because of all the cheats that people can build on their computer to help them in that poker game, you know. Anthony said, I felt that hello was weak. It was weak, man. It was the weakest thing I've seen. Michael just hopped in. He said, hey, Pay, good to see you. What's up, man? Thanks for coming by near the end of my live stream. I was just going over, just trying to get some podcast ideas from everybody, just trying to get some viewer suggestions, you know, just to create something together. I really am excited about it. Next question, where in your opinion is the best place to learn a smart contract for Cardano? I know there is a course. There's a course on it. I think it's on Udemy, but I don't think there really is any good resources for building smart contracts other than that course on Udemy. I would also start with looking at some of the content from the Cardano Summit that happened earlier. That'll definitely get you started. Also reaching out on the Telegram channels, you know. I haven't really started writing smart contracts yet, so I think the best place to learn was to get on the developer Cardano Telegram and ask them, what's the best resource, guys? How are you guys getting ahead of the game with this? And I'm sure they'll give you some great resources. Wesley said, need to go spend time with the kids. See you in the next live stream. I really appreciate you swinging by today, man. It was awesome. Michael Lesser gave me a super chat for $50. I really appreciate it, man. It's always that pair on the rocket, man. I love it. I really appreciate it. Kaizen said, hey, bro, glad I caught the live stream. What's up, man? I appreciate you swinging by near the end here. How you doing today, Kaizen? I caught your live stream, the last one you did near the end. Sassy Boy said, what happened to the wallet update today? Yeah, I thought it was coming out today, too. I'm sure it'll be coming out either today or tomorrow. Maybe they just found a little issue they need to fix during QA. Sassy Boy said, Kaizen, you've been laying low lately. Have you been laying low, Kaizen? What have you been working on, man? If you're laying low, I bet you're cooking up something good in the back. Anthony actually sent that Plutus course in there, and then the Marlowe course. I really appreciate that, Anthony. Daniel said, hey, bro, thanks for the content. I'm a happy delegator to Bloom 2. Keep up the good work. I will, man. I really appreciate your delegation. I couldn't be doing this stuff without you. I almost slipped the S word again, man. YouTube's really taming me. Breaking Bald said, I delegated to Bloom because how you explained to set up staking. I really appreciate that, man. I will have some more tutorial videos coming out soon. Essentially, anything that you guys need knowledge on, I'm going to be making videos on, right? How to vote with Voltaire. What's going on behind the scenes with Voltaire. Goguen stuff. How to be a part of the new Goguen stuff. I'm going to be having tutorials on all that. So I really do appreciate you. Randy said, I'm an old dude, not pewter savvy. I like that, pewter. I'm not very pewter savvy. I can't connect to Shelly Testnet on your Roy Chrome extension. Is it me or is it just not ready yet? Anthony, would you send Randy a link to the actual Yoroi Chrome extension download? Randy, we're actually not in a Shelly Testnet anymore. I also have a video on how to delegate with Yoroi on my channel. We are in Shelly mainnet. Delegation is true. Cardano is actually 20% decentralized. So you don't have to download a testnet anymore. You download the real Yoroi wallet. Crypto Dog Trader says, has anybody watched that? Because it's so old and out of date. That's a good statement. Couldn't think of a good word for that. But yeah, I actually watched that when it first came out, I think like a year and a half ago. So it may be a little out of date, but I'm sure the fundamental structure is there, you know. But I do think the best thing to do was hop into that. If you join my Discord server, I'll send you a link to the Cardano developer chat and ask them for information, man. I'm sure they'll have it. Sassy Boy said, how long have you had Eta? I've had Eta for years, man. I think 2017, when Eta was 9 cents for the first time, is when I bought Eta. So, I mean, I've been here for a long time, man. I've been playing the long game with Cardano, which is pretty funny, you know, because I say that Cardano requires my full focus. Well, it required my full focus back then, even 3 years ago, and I've been focusing on that since then. Michael Lesser said, does Bloom have any secrets in the hopper like Charles? We do have some secrets in the hopper, man. We got a couple. We're always working. We're always thinking of new things to bring adoption to Cardano, to bring use and utility. So we do have some things in the hopper. But I did just announce that podcast that I'm doing. So that's one of the big things that Bloom has in the hopper, not a popper, as far as adoption and use and utility goes. Michael said, off work, time for vodka. Some vodka at 2:12 p.m. Hash beats Cash. I like that. I finally just realized what your name. I've always been reading it as Hash Beats, but Hash Beats Cash is a good name, man. I like that. He said 2017 for me. Me too, man. I appreciate you posting those links in there, Anthony. It's a great help because like I used to just take time out to post the links. Mike P said, bam, bam. Any news on exchanges staking, or is Daedalus the way to go? I would never stake with exchanges, Mike P. It's not good for decentralization. I would stake to just a stake pool in the ecosystem. Daedalus is a way that you could go. You can also use Yoroi. If you look in the chat, Anthony actually just posted a link to Yoroi. And that Yoroi wallet you can stake on there as well. It's actually a lightweight browser wallet. I like it a lot. It's made by Emergo. It's made specifically by Sebastian over at Emergo. He worked hard, blood, sweat, and tears on that app from him. He is actually the first person that we're going to have on my new podcast. I've always looked up to him, man. He just comes out with a lot of great stuff. His whiteboard videos are great, so it's going to be cool to finally meet him and have him go over some stuff. Sassy Boy said, what's after Goguen? There's a nice term for it, but what's after Goguen is scalability. And then what's after scalability, we decide. Kalamax said, do you think Eta will be listed on Coinbase this year? I don't think so, man. Coinbase has always said that if we're going to list Eta on Coinbase, it needs to be completely decentralized. And that D parameter does not look like it's going to be at 0 by the end of this year. So we might be looking at Q1 of next year for full decentralization of Cardano. And also, a little voice crack right there for you guys. Full decentralization of Cardano, and then also Coinbase listing. Sassy Boy said, since you don't do price talk, what do the people on here think? Yeah, I stay away from price talk, man. It's just some rocky waters. I don't like starting every video with this. This is not financial advice. So I just don't even mention it. I buy Eta and HODL, and I'm not saying that you should. But what do you guys think on price prediction? Kaizen said, it's in the works. Should be a fun series. What series are you talking about, Kaizen? I missed the first text. Mike P said, thank you. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. Hashbeats Cash said, like XRP, going north. Do you mean you like XRP, Hashbeats Cash? Yeah, Michael's got it figured out, man. He's like, it's easy. The price is going up or down. It's that simple. Maybe I should do a price talk channel. I just get on there, 30 seconds. It's either going up, it's either going down. And then I end the video. I think Umed is actually going to do that. He's going to do that DC fund contract to do the podcast for trading. I'm really looking forward to that, man. I'm not really a price and trading guy, but I really do like Umed. So I would love to see his content on that. We are getting to the hour and 25 mark where I normally end them, so we got about 10 minutes left of questions, so make sure you guys keep them coming. I want to see some more price talk. I want to see what you guys are... I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm going to read what you guys say. I want to know what your price prediction for 2020 into the year is. Breaking Bald said, by the time ADA price really starts to move, we will be pricing it in white man's scalps. Yeah, especially with how south USD is going, you know. We could be at 50 cents a couple years from now, and it'll still be the same value per token as we're at today. Telegram would be the best guidance for setting up a pool in Nix or Nix OS. I have been wanting to look in the Nix just because I'm interested. Samuel Leathers is the big Nix guy over there. He always talks about how much he loves Nix and how good it is for building a stake pool. But yeah, I think Telegram's the best way to go. Calum X said 25 cents by the end of the year. So that's fair. I like that. I think not price talk, not a price prediction, but we might be on the verge of a bull market here within the next couple years. The USD printing all this money, or not the USD, the Fed's printing all this money. It's looking pretty bright for assets that aren't tied. Well, they're all tied, but just essentially it's good for assets. Michael said, oops, I lied, didn't hodl. All the BTC, it went to ADA. Yep, same here, man. I think I have like $15 in BTC lying around I think it's on my ledger. Just got 15 chilling in there. And what's funny is it was like $1 or $3 or something when Bitcoin was at like 3,000. So that's why it's worth 15 now. Some good gains. How about that? $3 to 15. Call me crypto Chad. Greg said, I can't wait for Haskell to run on Rock Pi. I've seen some people doing it, man. If you know a little bit about tinkering, you might be able to pull that off now. Dio Digital Now by Emil Lancy. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I'm bad with names from other countries. I'm sure I'll get better over time. He said, Hi BP, Big Pay. Do you expect many ETH dApps moving to Cardano after smart contracts are being implemented and ETH 2.0 keeps struggling with implementation? I do think a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but a lot of projects are going to be moving their dApps from ETH to Cardano. First of all, it's a different audience, right? They're going to be making more money. I think a lot of these big dApps on Ethereum will probably just do both, if that's possible, and I'm pretty sure it is. So I do think a lot of people are going to be moving over. And Charles' live stream, I think it was on August 1st. I missed it, so I went back and watched it while I was on a bike ride the other day. Some people that I'm really interested in, Dr. Ben Gortzel, from Singularity Net, they do a decentralized AI a decentralized AI marketplace. Which how gnarly and futuristic does that sound? Like, are we in Cyberpunk 2077 right now? But he said that they're having and during the actual Cardano summit, he said that they're looking into moving to Cardano because of how high the fees are currently, you know. Sassy Boy said, so how do we sell all of our gains and not get RAPA'd? I have to pronounce it that way so I don't get demonetized by taxes. That's for a crypto accountant, buddy. Nice CPA. I'm not your guy. But all I can tell you is you should hold for at least a year if you don't want to pay income tax on your gains. Sassy Boy said, I will pay taxes, but not as much as they want me to. Hey, man, you never know. I could be the IRS. I wouldn't be saying that on here. Hashbeats Cash says, Ben is a smart dude. Yeah, he's awesome, man. I was actually live streaming that summit, and he kind of blew me away with his little talk on the summit. That it would be so cool to have him on a podcast when he's moving over to Cardano, the podcast that I'm going to be starting about dApps use and utility. It'd be so cool to have him on and explain the decentralized AI marketplace that he's building. I mean, how awesome of a podcast would that be? To have someone come on about building a dApp on top of Cardano that's going to bring value to your token, and also someone as smart as him. You know, it's going to blow me away. And that's why I'm very bullish on how good this podcast is going to be. Michael Lesser said, Vitalik just admitted 2 days ago in an interview with I keep messing up pronunciations today. I don't know why. With Cointelegraph, that moving to ETH 2.0 might be more challenging than he thought. Translation, we're effed. Yeah, I mean, that's it's nice that he's coming out and being honest about that, though. Kudos to him, man. This stuff isn't easy. I will never claim it to be easy, you know. Chrissy Banks said a stable coin. It would be pretty cool to have a stable coin on Cardano. It would have been cooler, though, before. I know I keep saying this, but it's very integral to my thoughts lately. It would have been a lot cooler to have a stable coin if the government didn't print money. Michael Lesser, he's got some tax advice for you. He said, you wait, then you borrow against the asset, and you can't pay taxes on borrowed money. What he said, man. He said, shh. Hashbeats Cash said, epic. We're coming up on an hour and 20 minutes. It turned out to be an awesome live stream. Let me know if you guys have any more questions before we close out. About an hour 25. Keep the questions coming. We got 5 minutes left. It was a nice little live stream we did today. I like these little ones, man. Yeah, I can get to all the questions when there's about 90 viewers. I'm more than happy with 90 viewers, man. It's still just as fun for me as when we have 300. Caleb Max said, thanks for all the great info. No problem, man. Thanks for all the great questions. So I'll sit back for about 5 seconds, wait for a couple more. Michael said, thanks so much. Have to take a nap. The vodka's kicking in. Have a good nap, man. Appreciate you swinging by today. Staking World said, are you running on 1.19.0 yet, Pay? No, I'm not. I always usually wait a couple days for updates because sometimes there can be some issues that happen. I learned this on the ITN, man. You don't always want to update to the new one because sometimes some bugs can get missed in QA. I really am excited for 1.19 though because of all of the improvements, but I am going to wait a couple days. So for example, I think it was last week or the week before that, there was an update for 1.18.1 and there was some issues with it, right? So I just didn't want to, I didn't update to that, right? I was like, okay, 1.18.1, I'll give it a few days. You know, I'll let other people get killed if there's something wrong, right? So I always try to err on the safe side when it comes to new updates, you know, because blocks are on the line, man. We currently, as a stake pool operator, so during the ITN, we had this command that you could write, and it would show you your block schedule. It was called the leader schedule. And you would type in a command, and it would show you all the blocks that you're going to get during that epoch. So then what you could do as a node operator is you could say, okay, I have a lapse in blocks from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, and then I can update then. Well, we currently don't have that, and as a big pool operator, it's very hard to update your nodes while not missing any blocks. So I'm really waiting on that leader schedule thing too. But yeah, there's just going to have to be some stuff that I have to do to avoid that. But that leader schedule is very important for stake pool operators, and it's kind of sad that it's not there yet. Daniel said, why pay? What's the why? Hash said, Ivan's chats are ridiculous. Yeah, man, I usually catch him on YouTube after the fact, and he has the chat in the corner, and it's zoo. It's insane, man. I can't imagine. He even says it at the start. He's like, oh, the chats are insane. I don't have a good accent for him. It's crazy how good his English is, you know? Big B said, which YouTubers do you watch that also doing videos on Cardano? So the main YouTubers that I watch, I like Umed's videos. I just recently found him. I like Kaizen Crypto's videos. I like the Cardano Effect. And I also watch Charles's YouTube videos. Those are the good. I also watch Sebastian too. So Sebastian, Charles, the Cardano Effect, Kaizen, and Umed are my go-to Daniel said, why the name Big Pay? It's a good question, man. I used to be fat. I used to weigh 240 pounds as a wee boy. And I grew up around people that being fat was like, they would make fun of you for it. And I don't know, I got used to it. And they just started calling me Big Pay. And I liked it. You know, people always called me Pay growing up. And just Big Pay stuck. So in like 2013 or maybe even like 2011, my Xbox Live gamer tag was Big Pay. And it's always just stuck with me even after I lost the weight. You know, it's always been my my go-to online name. Philodoro said, thanks for the time. No problem, man. Crypto Dog Trader said it would be nice to have somewhere there is a lot of links on how to create smart contracts and how to create dApps for Cardano. Yeah, I do think that's coming though, man. When there is a hole in the market, whether it's content creating, whether it's tutorials, someone will show up and fill that gap. Whether it's me, whether it's Kaizen, whether it's Umed. I don't know Umed's channel. If you search Umed on Twitter, I bet you could find it. His channel's really small, man. He only gets like 100 views. I'm sure that'll be different. He's actually going to be starting a financial trading podcast. I'm excited for that, man. I will catch all of those episodes, and I will give him a shout out when it's released. I'm going to reach out to him directly and tell him that whatever support he needs from me on my end, when he releases that first podcast, I'll give it to him, man, because I am really excited for that. Kaizen said, much love, bro. Respect. Yeah, no problem, man. You always catch my videos too, so I always tune into yours, man. That last video you did, I actually brought her up earlier with Shweta. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I really need to get more cultured. I really do. I grew up in America, and we're not very cultured here, you know. But Shweta, that video you did with her was awesome, man. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed every second of it. It was a really good interview. Dean Clancy said, thanks for the great content, man. Irish lad living in Canada. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. No problem on making the great content. I appreciate you tuning in from Canada. Hashbeats Cash said, big pay and big heart I can see. Thanks, man. King Lalablela said, do you think in the future PCs will come preloaded with the software to run stake pools? That's a very broad question, but specifically for a PC being sold to run a stake pool, yes, I think that's going to come. It'll probably be the guy that made the Cardano on Rocks thing. It'll just become pre-built. It'll be a plug and play. Chains will be able to work. I'm sure that's going to be coming in the future. But yep, we are on the hour and 27 mark. I really appreciate you guys all coming here. Make sure you guys leave a like on this before you leave. You guys had a lot of good questions. Feel free to join my Discord server or at me on Twitter, message me on Twitter with some cool podcast names. I think the best one that I've heard so far today was Cardano or Aurora. That was pretty awesome. Or Aura, however you pronounce that. But yeah, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. A lot of great things are happening within Cardano. Just the excitement that's been going around, and everyone's getting really excited about this stuff. And I think a lot of great things are going to come out of it. You know, as a YouTuber, it's really easy to see the growth and excitement for Cardano. Viewing my analytics, viewing my Discord, viewing the sentiment on Cardano, and it's really going up, man. People are really excited. People are really happy with what's coming out, and it's awesome, man. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys all enjoyed this live stream. I hope you all have a wonderful day.